Peace and harmony, family. Welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Rose, and today our video is going to be a little short, but I just wanted to come on here and just share how I transmute my pain into power. And I feel like that's such a beautiful breakthrough because a lot of times we get triggered by things in life, a lot of external things, and we don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to navigate through those triggers. And one of the things that I realized in all of my experiences is a lot of these things come from either mother issues or daddy issues, like literally. And when I realized that, I was able to make necessary adjustments when it comes to my healing. And I also stopped looking at healing as something that's external and started going deeper and deeper into the internal parts of healing, the spiritual side of things, whether that's through prayer, whether that's through meditation, visual meditation, whether that's through breath work. Either way, I started really incorporating those things into my everyday. It's one of the first things I do before I even start my day, um, before I go to work, whatever it is. That's something that I do. And I realized one of the most transformative things was a visual meditation. And in this visualized meditation, this is where you start to see the different variations of you, from your toddler self to your preteen self to your teenage self to the young adult you version. These are all different versions of you, literally. And what I realized is when we are triggered through certain experiences in life, it's not necessarily the present you that actually has the issue. It's one of those different versions of you that still to this day has an unmet need, and it needs to be soothed. It needs to find a safe space emotionally. And I had that realization when I was dealing with trying to heal my mother wounds. And I realized, as and I'm realizing a lot of this as me being my own mother, being my own mother to my own child. And for the life of me, I feel like I could not connect to her because I don't know. I just don't know. But once I started sitting with myself and really addressing my mother wound, and how I did that was I went and created pretty much a timeline. And I can, if you want a timeline, just comment below timeline and I can send you the link to get one. And it's completely free. And I feel like it would really, really be beneficial to people who are really trying to understand themselves and the different versions of themselves. So, um, in that timeline, I list from my youngest memory all the way up until now. But between time, and if I can remember the age correctly, I put in at different moments. If I'm like 12, I put in a moment where I started my menstrual cycle, but my mother was not around. My mother was actually locked up. That's a whole nother topic for a whole another day. But that's part of my story, and that's part of who I am and how why I viewed women and my mother this a certain way. So um it helps me to see that, and then whatever other traumatic things that I experienced growing up, I was able to write that down and see it. We need to see, sometimes we need to see what it is that we are feeling, if that makes sense. So um once I did that, I started to do a visualized meditation. In that visualized meditation, I went back to those moments that brought me this trauma or just these abandonment issues or just the lack of confidence or whatever it is that I was feeling at that time, at that age. I went back and revisited. But the key is when you go back and revisit it, it's not to a place of judgment or shame because you're young. You don't really know what to expect. And a lot of times, if we're being honest, a lot of times our parents aren't emotional. They don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to navigate us through certain emotions. So it's okay. And sometimes I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason. And those traumas, those experiences is what we needed to help us evolve as we got older and we start to understand ourselves, if that makes sense. If you're following, right? So once I did the visualization and I started to revisit these parts of me, and I started to also have a certain level of compassion. I'm sorry, y'all, that's my nana phone. But I started to grow this different level of compassion within myself. And once I started to have that, I also started to um, have another compassion for my mother and giving my mother grace for who she is, well, who she was then and who she is now. And this gave me a different viewpoint, and um, it made me realize that, my mom is human. She was going through things at that time. She was who she was, and that's okay. And even if that relationship, and it's just in general, even if you can look back at that time and even come back to the present moment and you and your parent is not necessarily on the same page, that is also okay too, because sometimes you just live different lifestyles and that is all right. Okay. You can still love your parents, you can still appreciate them for everything that you experience, good or bad, and be able to evolve from that. So once I started having these frequent visualization, these family meetings, I like to call these inner family meetings, I was able to navigate myself through triggers a lot easier. Like if I'm being triggered by something that somebody has done to me, or um, whatever it is, I always go back to center, go back to square one, and I ask myself, okay, which version of me or which part of me is needing something right now, or what part of me is being triggered right now, and let's go back and let's soothe this. Like, how do I soothe this? And in the midst of doing that, this has also helped me to navigate my relationship with my daughter, because I used to get irritated and I used to be frustrated. I would like to say I was an angry mom. Even sometimes I still get frustrated, but it's not in a way to where I'm going to break my child in the process. Yes, it's still a growing process because I come from a family of women who were very aggressive emotions. How dare you have those? Like, you know, just saying certain things to me as a child and not really uplifting me. So it's a lot of things that I had to break down um, mentally, spiritually, especially emotionally. And once I was able to do that, I was able to look at my daughter as not only a human being, but look at her as the little version of me. And so whenever I'm met with something with my daughter where she's just like emotionally just being a little girl or being a little kid, whatever, um, I'm able to relate to her. Like if she gets in trouble or something, like she got in trouble like last week or something, and instead of like really like having this old style of parenting, what I did was I told her, to make a long story short, I reassured her that what you're doing right now, I did at your age too. Okay. Like I this relatability. And so from her freaking out or upset or whatever, um, I reassured her that, I love you, we care about you. This is why we're bringing this up to you. Okay. And I also made it to where what you're doing right now, Cam, I was like that too. but I had to understand certain things as I got older, that this is what's right and this is what's wrong. And this is going to happen when something bad happens and I do something bad, and this is going to happen when something I do good, right? So I think we have an understanding of that now. And I just seen how emotionally she wasn't like all over the place. She was actually coming from a 10,000 to like a 10. Like huge difference. And I really wanted to pat myself on the back for that because I did really good. I did good. So taking it back to transmuting your energy from this is painful to this can be powerful. And listen, all it takes for you is to sit there and take the time out to address all of what you've been feeling and what you've experienced throughout your life, and not looking at it as pity, not looking at it as sorrow, as what like frustration. Look at it, feel it, cry, scream, box, take whatever, go break something, go to a rage room, whatever it is, get it out so that you're able to navigate through life experiences with ease. Nobody ever said that this would be easy, because it's not always easy, but what we can do is make the best out of what we're being presented. So yes, that's my TED Talk. So, again, if this video helped, please leave roses in the comment section. If you want me to expound on something, definitely let me know in the comment section. If you still want the timeline chart and it is free, put timeline down in the chat, or the, what is it, comment section. But with that being said, family, peace.